Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are just opening up a minute early, just to let everyone trickle in. So please get comfortable and we'll start in about 1 minute. If you want, you can type into the chat where you're from. We'd love to hear from you, see where everyone's calling in from. It's always nice to see that diversity across North America and even maybe Europe or other places. So. Got people calling in from Georgia, from
Wichita,
from Waterloo,
Ulrika from Southern Ontario. Nice.
Hi, everyone. We're just going to get started in about 30 seconds. We'll let the last few people to trickle in. If you just want to plop into the chat where you're from, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for attending, and we'll get started right away. All right, I think we'll get started. So good morning and afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today and participating in our last session of our adaptation webinar series. Since the beginning of May, as you probably already know, we've been partnering with nonprofit professionals as well as industry experts like Mazarine to be able to best equip you with the practical tools you need to not only survive, but thrive in this new normal. I'm May Adaptation. I'm the head of Keela's community engagement team, and I'll be the moderator for today's session. Before we get started, I just wanted to go over a couple of housekeeping details with you all. So the first is that the session will be about 45 minutes in length, which includes about a 10 to 15 minute session at the end. So sorry, that's 60 minutes in total. We encourage you to ask questions throughout, and we'll get to them at the end of Mazarine's presentation. Today's session is also being recorded, so you'll receive the recording along with the slide deck by the end of this week. And I'd also like to mention that by attending this webinar, you're eligible to receive 1 CFRE credit. So please feel free to reach out to me at my email address. I'm just going to plop it into the chat right now, which is melissabilko at keela.com. Sorry, I can't do 2 things at once here. There we go. And if you'd like to learn more or to receive that credit, please feel free to reach out to me. And with that, let's get started. I am pleased to introduce our speaker, who is the CEO of the Wild Women Fundraising, Mazarine Treyz. Mazarine is a coach, a speaker, and a best-selling author of the Wild Women's Guide to Fundraising. And she serves people in over 70 different countries. Today, she'll be leading a session on her secrets of successful virtual fundraising, where she will dish all of her secrets on best practices and tips for successful digital conferences. Thank you so much, Mazarine, for joining us today. We're so lucky to have you here, and I'm excited to jump into this with you. So with that, I will pass the mic off to you and get us started.
Thank you so much, Mel. I really appreciate that. Wonderful welcome. I'm going to start sharing my slides now, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. Go for it.
All right. I will. And then I will make it big. So slideshow time here. All right. And then I'll reshare because that's how we have to do it. So boom. All right. So everybody, thanks so much for being here. We have people from all over the world here. Wow. People from Rwanda, people from Ontario, people from Alabama. Hey, I'm in Portland, Oregon, and I'm so glad everybody is here. So if I said hey to you in the chat, feel free to say hey back. And I'm going to tell you a little bit now. I'm going to talk with you a little bit about who I am. But before I do that, I want to tell you that this is for you if you want clear, effective tools to get your online conference profitable in the age of COVID-19. You want to know how to wisely use your resources financially and emotionally. And you want to be proactive about attendee engagement. So with all that's been going on in the last several weeks, I would just love to check in with you right now. Please type in the chat. How are you doing? Ulrika said pretty good. Sandy said fantastic. Doug said great. Kay said okay. Shauna said okay. Scott said busier than ever. Diana said I am okay, thank you. Connie said great job with a new social distancing. It's very unique. Yangzi said good. Excellent. Really good. Very busy, said Shelby. Coping but anxious to get back to work, said Maria. Anitra said a bit stressed about making this online conference thing work and profitable. Yeah. Bit overwhelmed, said Heather. Denise said struggling with virtual engagement, but it's really busy. Toyin said so-so. Deborah said finding things a bit difficult, but sessions like this really help get the energy up. Enjoying a non-commute, said Belinda. Yeah. Kim said lots of positives and challenging. Diane said learning a lot from these webinars. Natalie said overwhelmed. Tess said overwhelmed but engaged and motivated. Oh, thanks everybody so much who shared. And for everyone who didn't share, it's okay too. Time to reflect, said Cecily. Excellent. I really appreciate that. As for myself, I'm feeling calm and focused, but I've also been sleeping a lot. That's how I've been coping with everything going on, is just sleeping. So what worries you the most right now? Some people did say that they were anxious about virtual engagement. Is there anything else that is worrying to you right now? Feel free to put it in the chat. Anxious to move our events online, said Lisa. Yeah. Heather said glad to be in the office again. Cecile said how offline events will come back. Anna said new ranges of multitasking. Connie said long-term impact on society and economy. Rebecca said finding funding for my training program. Yeah. Maybe your training has to go online, in which case that, right? Selling that. Maria said wanting to continue work, but need to work out how to do it virtually. Yeah. Raising sufficient funds to operate, said Juliet. Shelby said constantly changing environment changes every week. It does, doesn't it? What jobs will look like in the near future, said Juliana. Yeah. Sandy said not being able to define our future. The collision of personal and professional working at home, said Denise. Yep. Ontario is starting to open up. I'm nervous about community spread infections, said Kay. Very reasonable to be afraid of that. Shauna said trying to envision how to transfer our events online. Nancy said trying to understand if we're moving in the right direction. Yeah. Daryl said we'll be able to adjust our grant to accommodate a virtual event. Good question. Diana said what to expect as the economy changes. How will our work shift? Yeah, Kim said so many uncertainties moving forward in childcare, how to reach out to our families. How we're going to raise as much money virtually as we did in person, Carol. Reasonable question. Don't know. Tess said equity in our organization and sector. Our virtual conferences and webinars are a useful tool to further this work. Tess, I do have an answer for you. Belinda, staying relevant in the new normal. Yep, running a nonprofit abroad without being able to travel, said Roger. Yep, how to pivot to digital. Love it. So everyone, thank you so much for sharing that. In terms of equity, I will tell you, I am now working with a national organization that helps women not be harassed at work, sexually harassed at work, and they are doing a virtual conference, and they are run by and for women of colors primarily. So I do believe that online events can be more equitable for several reasons. One is there's less worry about childcare. If they had to come out to your gala or something like that, right? They'd have to figure out childcare, how to get there. If they are differently abled, they would have to figure out, is it going to be an accessible venue for me? If they have other issues, like maybe they're partially sighted, you can put closed captioning on the screen and give them slides in advance, for example, if there's going to be an educational event. So in a way, a lot of this is a lot more equitable for folks. It's less cost, it's less time, it's less, it can be more inclusive of different people's abilities. So I do think that online events can be equitable, as well as if somebody says to you, hey, I need a scholarship, you're not going to have to buy them another meal and save another seat at the fancy conference venue. You can just say, sure, you have it now. It's fine. So I do think that will be more equitable. Thanks for asking that question. Everyone, again, thank you so much for all of these really important responses. Michelle raised her hand. Michelle, if you want to put in the chat what you want to talk about, feel free. Really appreciate that, what everyone is sharing right now. You're welcome, Tess. So we're in a global pandemic, but we have more tools and connection at our disposal than the world has ever known. And as workers and nonprofits, we're used to innovating, adapting, and bringing communities together. You got this, and I'm here to help. So today I would like you to turn off other apps on your computer for the best viewing experience. We've got a ton to cover, and I don't want bandwidth issues to slow us down. So if you're moving your event online, I want to say congratulations. Please type in the chat, what event are you moving online, and when is it? Some people already shared that. If you haven't shared that yet, if you're thinking about moving it online, just tell me what it is. Fundraising Gala, said Lisa. Patient education, said Diane. Kate said annual general meeting. So to Juliana, June 15th, that's come right up. Virtual conference in September, said Shelby. Virtual run in August, said Sandy. Community forum in the fall, said Anne. Prayer for peace during the DNC in August. Wow. Staff meetings and fundraisers, said Roger. Global summit in October, said Katie. Virtual seminar in July, said Olivia. Art workshop, said Rochelle. Ooh, that would be really interesting. Giving circle, said Allison. Virtual renewable energy trade show, said Daryl. Wow. Virtual conference for professionals in September, said Rachel. Ulrika said parent town hall info sessions. Nice. So AGM in September moved from April, Belinda said. Research conference in August, said Allie. The Family Civility Conference in Jamaica, November, said Rebecca. Nice, nice. All right, so in terms of galas, yeah, Deborah said even before COVID was looking at online options at the last association I work with, because it's more expensive to do it online. Yeah. Alicia, if you want to just put your question in the chat, I think that would work the best. So in terms of galas, we're not going to be covering galas today. We're going to be covering virtual conferences, but you can also extrapolate this to virtual online meetings for annual meetings, as well as for online education in general. So if you're looking for fundraising gala advice, this is going to be less useful to you. I'm just letting you know that right now, so you don't waste your time. I have run 8 virtual conferences, and so if you do want to chat with me afterwards about how to run a virtual conference, yeah, a fundraising dinner is probably not going to be super useful to you. I'm going to put in the chat my contact info, and it's right here. So there you go. If you want to talk to me about how I did that, it's right there. And I'm also going to be teaching you today what I did. So here is what you'll learn today. 7 ways to make a successful virtual conference. 3 ways to promote the conference beforehand using cheap or free tools. How to help people see how exciting the event will be. This can go for annual meetings as well. Secrets to continue to offer value to your sponsors. How to do incredible run-throughs with presenters that can also work for online education for adults or children, right? Making sure everything goes smoothly on conference days. How to know when you need to delegate and what you need to do yourself. And the next steps after the conference is over to get people excited about the next event. So by the end of class today, you'll have new ideas for how to market your conference, be motivated and ready to take action. You'll have an awareness of what works and what doesn't work with online conferences. And if you're looking for new sources of funding for your organization, this could be one. So check it out. So why should you listen to me about this? Aside from me running 8 online conferences in the 2008 economic crash, I raised more with events than ever before. I raised 250K, 100K more with a dinner, and I raised 120K in grants, up from 7K the year before. And then during the downturn, I built the business that I have now with 50,000 monthly readers and 12,000 email subscribers. And from 2014 to 2018, I put on 8 online conferences for over 1,200 people, making 84K with one conference alone. And I did this with the help of others, but I coordinated everything. So I got sponsored by Charity Village, the Nonprofit Association of Oregon, Bay Path University, and the University of Texas, tech companies like Bloomerang and others. So this is why you should listen to me, because I've done what you want to do. So for the last 5 years, I've directed and organized incredibly successful online conferences and masterclasses. So I got 9 to 12 internationally known speakers. I got multi-year sponsors, including associations and universities, and 19 to 24 CFRE credits per year. So I was accredited and I had lots and lots of sponsors. I also bring focus. So we had 3 days per event with time to integrate and ask questions of speakers. We also had rest days in between. And I bring marketing. We had over 1,200 attendees in total and everyone paid. I've also made mistakes that I hope you don't make. So here's what I want for you. To feel encouraged and motivated to succeed with your online conference. To figure out how to translate offline marketing into online marketing. To feel supported in achieving your dreams for your conference. So COVID-19 is affecting our world, and everyone is reevaluating what's important to them right now in the very core of what it means to be North American. We don't know, this might come back in the fall, and that's scary too. So we need new ways of coming together and creating online community. You need to be thinking about hiring people who know how to create online community and make space for people to connect and focus together. So at the end, I'll share an opportunity to help you start right now. Let's go. So here's 3 ways to promote the conference beforehand using cheap or free tools. Here's what I tried that didn't work. Max list ads, nonprofit AF ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, Google inbox ads, and postcards. Those didn't work. Here's what did work. A/B testing landing pages, A/B testing emails, interviews with speakers to my list, free webinars with speakers beforehand, promoting free webinars on listservs and through speakers, partner and sponsor webinars to help promote. Most of these are free. Landing pages. Landing pages aren't free, but they're not that expensive either. So they allow you to do lead capture. That means get people's email addresses with free downloads or reports or sell an event. So landing page software that I have used include Ontraport, Lead Pages, Unbounce, and I'm trying System.io right now. So you can automate lead capture and emails to them, as well as A/B test the landing page versions. So does anybody have any questions? If you know what a landing page is, does everybody kind of know what a landing page is?
We do have questions about what is an A/B test. So if you want to just dive a little deeper into that, that would be great.
Yes, absolutely. Looks like Rebecca, Natalie, and Kay all have that question. So let me answer that right now. So A/B testing means that you can test how a headline or a photo works on your page. What is a landing page, Katie? Yeah, let's just go into that. So what this means is landing pages are where you tell people about your event. So it's just a page on your website that's dedicated to your event. So that means that this is where they say, yes, I want to attend, please take my money. It can also be, yes, I want to attend, I know it's not ready yet, take my email address so that when it is ready, I will be there. So I hope that makes sense. So for example, if this page right here that I'm showing you was a landing page, and it is, they would change this picture from this woman to a different kind of picture. Maybe it's a man. Instead of saying convert more leads, maybe instead it would say sell more seats at your conference. So that would be an A/B test. Test A would be convert more leads with this picture. Test B would be sell more seats and have a different picture. Or maybe they just want to change the color of the button or the color of the background. And maybe they want to change this graphic. All of those are different tests. Generally, it's best to change one thing at a time so that you know what actually worked instead of changing a bunch of things at once. Does that make sense? So you basically, when someone comes to your site, they can either get this page or they can get the one with the different person and the different headline. This is test A, this is test B. So 50% of people will get test A, 50% of people will get test B. The more tests you make, the more you, then 33% of people will get A, 33% of people will get B, 33% of people will get C. Katie, I think, gets it. So I'm gonna keep going. Thanks, everybody. So how I promoted my conferences, I used Canva and I had fun. So I decided to take an image of a pill bottle and say, warning, can cause surging fundraising success. May cause larger major gifts, increase monthly giving, feeling of board effectiveness, increased staff motivation, and better cross-sector partnerships. So I thought that was kind of fun. You can play with it. I like to use whatever I have on hand just to see what are the most inventive advertisements I can do. If people know these faces, then this will be compelling to them if these are famous people. This is what I put together for the Nonprofit Leadership Summit. I also made postcards and online ads in Canva and sent them to previous attendees. So these are some of what my postcards look like. And this is kind of like an online ad. And this is an ad I put on my blog. I also created free webinars each month for people to get excited about the event. Here's just a few of them. I used a different format than Zoom. I used another system, which I didn't like as much, which I'm not going to tell you about. I had Heather talk about her individual donor benchmark report, and I had Stephanie Roth talk about fundraising bright spots, new research on how you can succeed with your fundraising. So I've also just wanted to share what has worked for my clients, basically. So you can use WordPress plugins if you have a WordPress website to make a landing page for free. And these are some of the landing page website plugins for WordPress. Lead pages, I have never used it, but the reason I like it is you can sort on their website for free the highest converting templates for virtual events. Highest converting means most successful. It means these are the ones that are working for other people to get them the highest number of people to buy or attend their online events. And you can copy whatever it looks like to your own landing page software. So you could just look right here, sort by newest or highest converting, categories, virtual or webinar event template. There's also other ones, just event in general, and so on and so forth. So unbounce.com, I did use for my first fundraising career conference in 2015. I had over 550 registrants for that. We did great A/B testing, highly recommend Unbounce. It's not that expensive either. Entreport I've used for the last several years. I know one nonprofit that uses them, it's a commitment. You have to transfer everything over to them, like your email list and stuff. But this particular landing page had a 16% conversion rate, which is pretty good. So it had 2,800 visits and it had about 460 conversions. And this is how you do in Entreport, split test version A, version B, right? So I copied this template from Lead Pages and I recreated it in Entreport. So this is how many visits, this is how many conversions. This was a free webinar that I did. So why did it have a 16% conversion rate? Well, we said this is exactly what you're going to get from it. We had a countdown timer with a big button that said RSVP me. and some interesting quotes from folks. And we said, this is all the things you're going to learn. We also had some well-known speakers, which really helped as well. So pop quiz. Get ready in the chat. Which email subject line do you think created more opens? A, announcing the virtual fundraising career conference. B, saving a seat for you first name. Or C, time to rocket boost your fundraising career. Okay, Denise, if you just put it in the chat, I think that would be good. All right, a lot of C's here, a lot of B's. All right, an A. Who is right? Okay, remember what your answer was. Let's see who is right here. Saving a seat for your first name. Everyone who said B, you're right. That was the one that had the best result. And this is why we A/B test not just landing pages, but subject lines. So you can use my result right now for your event. You can say saving a seat for you first name for any online event that you do. I give you permission. And then I used what's called Aweber to send these messages. If your email software does not allow you to do that, you may want to consider getting some software that does. So if you have Constant Contact, I would definitely switch out. So time to rocket boost your fundraising. Nope, only a 1% click rate. Basically, I took a small portion of my list and I sent it to a small amount of people. And then when I figured out which one is the best open rate, I sent the best message to the rest of the list. That's how you A/B test email subject lines. And some software will just let you do it really easily. And it's worthwhile to do it because, as you can see, the best one had a 15% open rate and a 2% click rate, which is a 25% improvement over this one. This one was okay. I had a 13% open rate, but it wasn't as good as 15%. So you want the one with the best open rate and the best click rate. They're not always the same. Does this make sense for people?
Mazarine, do you mind clarifying what software that is that you're using for your email marketing?
Yeah, so Aweber is the one I use for this one, and I put that in the chat.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So Aweber is what I used. You can also use GetResponse. It is basically the same thing. I put that in the chat as well. So see which one works best for you. Okay, Ardeen, wonderful. Excellent. All right. So here's 22 keywords to make people open, read, and share your emails. I've used these over the last 10 years, and they are extremely effective. So free, new, at last, this, announcing, warning, just released, now, here's, and these. You can use these in all sorts of ways for online events. And I got these from the book Cashvertising by Drew Eric Whitman. Here's some more. They're not as good, but they're pretty good. You can, if you get bored of the ones that I just showed you, you can use these instead. Which of these, right? Or finally, we're going online with our virtual annual meeting. Or presenting our latest annual report. Introducing our first virtual event. These are just some things to think about. How to help people see how exciting the event will be. So what is actually exciting about your event? Is it the things that people learn? The connections that they make? The way they get personalized attention from the presenters? What have previous attendees said? These are all things to think about when you get people excited about your event. What is exciting about your event? Please write it in the chat. Rebecca, yes, they're in order of effectiveness. What would be exciting about your event? Connection, said Denise. Heather said a new first-time offering. Wonderful. Yeah, I think for a lot of us, especially during COVID-19, it's going to be about connections. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to keep going. Leads converting to sales. Exclusive opportunity for women philanthropists. Nice. Networking collaborations. Opportunity to participate in DNC, but in a prayerful way. Maria, very good. Learning about the disease, said Diane. More can attend because there's no cost, said Belinda. Wonderful. Shauna said opportunity to meet others with the same condition and hear from top specialists in the field. Wonderful. I love that. Networking, connecting, how in virtual conference. So Allie, the cool thing about Zoom is that you can do breakout rooms with folks. And I'm not sure about all the other softwares out there, but at least for Zoom, you can help people network and connect with each other in little breakout rooms between sessions if you wish. Wonderful. So here's some ways to help people see how exciting the event will be. Interviews with speakers on your website and in your newsletter, free webinars, and you can share feedback from previous years in emails and on your sales page. Here's some feedback from previous years that I had, that I shared on my sales page and in my newsletter and on my website. So some people, Kelsey said, I have such a talent for delivering a professional development opportunities that are so inspiring, motivational, and fun. I was like, thank you. These are all unsolicited. So we love our work, but sometimes it can be exhausting, learning how we can build trust as nonprofit leaders. Said Patricia. Kat said, your career conference was life-changing. Sheena said, best email ever. Your presentation literally changed my life. Wow. So she was a presenter. Sanam said, such a privilege to spend time learning your craft. Thank you for creating such an epic conference. You rock. Loved all the positive energy, said Kelsey. So secrets to continue to offer value to your sponsors. First, ask your sponsors what matters most to them right now. Here's how I offered value to my sponsors. I put a link to them in my emails about the conference for 3 months. I linked them and added their logo at the bottom of blog posts for 3 months. For educational sponsors, they get to suggest presenters and topics. I gave discount codes to their members and students, as well as sponsorship reports that clearly show the value they got for their sponsorship, numbers reached, conversions, etc. I also heard from Bay Path University that because of their $5,000 sponsorship to my conference, 2 folks decided to sign on to their virtual nonprofit management program, which means they completely made back the cost of the conference and then some. Here's how they offered value to me. For Bay Path, they offered me presenters with original research and inside knowledge on how to get major gifts jobs. They offered me money. They offered me a platform, exposure to their list, and free webinars for their audience. So that means I got to be in front of their audience as well. So which channel seems to be most effective for you right now? Is it Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, word of mouth? What are the best ways that you're getting the word out right now on getting people to donate to you? I'm just curious. LinkedIn, said Anitra. Rebecca said Facebook and word of mouth. Wonderful. Anyone else want to share? Juliet said webpage. Diane said emails. Allie said email, Facebook, and word of mouth. Roger said email. Excellent. Denise said new newsletter. Okay. Shauna said Facebook and MailChimp email blast. E-blast, said Wendy. Rebecca said Instagram is our largest audience with best engagement for all events. Wonderful. Belinda said Facebook and email. So what I'm seeing as a theme here for most people is email. So if that's the case, then thank you also to Connie and Yangzi for chiming in there. I really appreciate that. If that's the case, then I would suggest doing what you know works. So how to do incredible run-throughs with presenters to make sure each session really pops. So think about what makes a good presentation for you. Type in the chat. What makes a good presentation? What makes you stay engaged online? I'd love to hear in the chat. Humor can help. Relevance and value, said Allie. Yeah, humor is great. Something interactive, said Daryl. Yep. Rebecca said the topic and the passion the speakers have for it. Yes. Deborah said interaction and polling. Yep. Belinda said speaker enthusiasm for the subject. Absolutely. Nancy said letting them feel in a safe space. Yep. Anne said appropriate pacing. Yep. Kay said not too much information at once. Yes. Nancy said good storytelling. Love it. Rochelle said zero technology glitches. Very important. Mel said being natural. Yes. Alicia said great slides. I agree with you. Yes, 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 yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thanks everybody for sharing. So everybody, you can save the chat by clicking on the little 3 dots and click save chat there, so that if you want ideas on how to make your virtual event the best one ever, people have just given you a ton of ideas for how you can do that. So please feel free, just copy the chat and think about what people just said to you. So here's some of the things that I do to make sure each session really pops. A few words on the slides, lots of pictures, lots of audience engagement. This is a picture of just some art that I made one year in 2018. I just like, hey, this is all the stuff I made this year. It was really fun. I made felt art. I made, encaustic art. I made monotypes. So I was like, why not? It's my conference. I'm going to put my art in there. So have the MC or presenter do these things to be more engaging. Tell them they want to hear our experience, give a free thing at the end, play a game, and win prizes. So polls, chat, just like people said, and pause for questions. And in Zoom, you can also have breakout rooms, which is really fun. This is an online event I went to, hosted by Elaine Cardis, and it was just wonderful. There were so many people engaged there, and people were all networking with each other. It was really, really valuable. So making sure everything goes smoothly on conference days, I'm just checking the time here. For attendees, you want to send the email with the full agenda, clear instructions about how to log in, troubleshooting phone numbers and links, and full instructions about how to access the resource materials and when they will be available. Have your FAQ ready in a quick link you can send in the chat as the presentations start and end. So you want to survey attendees for accessibility. Is anyone partially sighted or deaf or an ESL speaker? Do they need the slides beforehand? Do we need to translate our materials into other languages? Is closed captioning possible with our software? Zoom at the highest level does do closed captioning for you. Oh, you don't see the 3 dots? Okay. So if you go to the chat and you click 2, it says all panelists and stuff, there's like little 3 dots there on the right-hand side. And it'll say more on it. And when you click it, you can say click save chat.
If people are unable to save the chat, we can also send it in a follow-up email to everyone, because I think that would be super helpful.
Yeah.
So we'll do that as well.
Thank you. So making sure everything goes smoothly, you also want to have the presenters send the logins and the FAQ to them well in advance. Do a run through with them and then do another one. And make sure that they are comfortable with running their slides. Ask questions about how much they've used the software. Again, run through with them. That is not optional, that is mandatory. Want to test the software in the presentation, next time just to see the presentation edits. So this is a picture here of like my best speaker of every conference. Her name is Kishana Palmer. She is incredible. You'd be so lucky to have her at your conference. She's like the most dynamic, wonderful speaker you'd ever want. So grill them about accessibility, no reverse type. What does that mean? Reverse type is when you have white writing on a black background. That's reverse type. Or yellow writing on a green background. The best type for people who are partially sighted or who have any vision difficulties at all is black writing on a white background. And we can talk about how we'll manage glitches, questions, and trolls, and so on as well. So these are some of the promo slides that I had in the beginning of every single day of the conference. My tagline was, now is our time to rise. I said, here's day 1. Here is what we're gonna have. You can see, here's our keynote. Here's when the first session starts. I also had to put it in different time zones because not everybody was in the same time zone. People could see how long it was. And then we would have space in between the sessions. So there was an hour or 2 between these 2 sessions. And then Day 2, day 3, troubleshooting slide. Do I log into the same place each day? What if I can't hear? What if it starts going slowly? What should I do before beginning each day? Who should I email if I have trouble? How do I interact? Here's what you can do. So how to stand out with theme and price. By the way, the art that you're seeing here is art that I made, and I just wanted to do it for fun. So that's
nice.
Oh, what did you say? Sorry.
It's really beautiful. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I just thought it was fun. So had a little show in 2018. This is the postcard of it. But anyway, so you want to stand out with price, right? So do the end-to-end thing, increase the price in months leading up to the event and create urgency. So my first career conference in January, it was $9. And then every month I doubled the price. So in February, it was $18. In March, it was $36, and so on and so on and so on until by the time it got to the time of the event in April, it was more. So that's how you stand out with price. You can double the price to make urgency for people to get in. You know, be a radical truth teller. What is something people are afraid to say in the industry? Say it. I have been living my life this way for 10 years and I'm not going to stop. It's so fun. Offer an incredible amount of value for a very reasonable price. Include credits if you can. So if you're going to speak to fundraisers, CFRE credits are a thing. Maybe you want CEUs for nurses or other things like that. So diversify your speakers. I strive for 50% or better of my speakers to be women of color. That was very, very, very important to me. That's the world I want to see in every conference. So pay all of your speakers. People deserve to be paid for their hard work. You will get better results. That's just the world I want to live in too. I don't want people to speak for free. Real examples of it's really working right now will also help. So for now, how-to breakdowns. You know, I went to people who are doubling and tripling their revenue and I asked them how did they do it? Show us. So ask what your attendees want as well. Survey people before the event, when they sign up and after the event. Do they want to learn how to do something? What are they worried about right now? Give them space to interact and connect with each other. Invite people to share LinkedIn handles in the chat. Take a screenshot of attendees with everyone's permission so you can send it out and remind them of the good times and then have fun with it. So these are my survey results from a couple of my conferences. Would you attend the conference next year? Most people said yes. Some people said maybe. Only a few people said no. And for the other one, nobody said no. Most people said yes or maybe. So what do you need to delegate and what do you need to do yourself? What are you best at? So for me, I am best at presenting, keynoting, emceeing, and interviewing folks. I'm also really good at teaching. So what are you best at? Feel free to type in the chat. What part of this do you want to take on yourself? Technical. You're good at technical, said Juliet. Rebecca said presenting, emceeing, and interviewing. Wonderful. Daryl said none, delegate all, smiley face. Yep. Allie said managing the event. Belinda said I'm a details person. Heather said organizing and presenting. Alicia said I love emceeing events. Wonderful. Nancy said facilitating. Sarivja said presenting and interacting. Denise said I need to delegate the technical aspects. Great. Shauna said organizing. Maria said emceeing and managing. Pre and post communication and programming speakers, said Rebecca. Wonderful. Cecile said coordinating. Deborah said organizing and presenting. Wendy said managing and organizing. Nice. So people have a mix of skills here. Ulrika said creating promotional material. I love that. So you know what you're good at. You don't have to do everything by yourself. So if you're so at something, just write it down. I'm okay getting back to people and running logistics, but writing emails and A/B testing is okay. Not my favorite thing to do, but I can do it. What do you hate doing? What are you like, bye? So this is me on a bridge, the ride, the 10 bridges ride. We rode all over all the bridges that day in Portland. There's a lot of bridges. So dealing with tech troubleshooting, finding new sponsors, spreadsheets, contracts, proposals, following up people, invoices. No, I'm not that good at that. So there's a lot of things I'm not good at. So you know what you're not good at, get someone else to do that. Just type or write what I love doing. Just do that as much as you can. All the things you're so or don't like, how can you pass that off? So getting people excited about next time. I know we're kind of running out of time. That's why I'm going a little fast. Providing so much value and gratitude and personalized attention that they will want to come back. When they make a suggestion in a survey, listen. Share successes in the conference with your list. So I presented on negotiating salary, and Emily said, I successfully negotiated my first wage. This was a tweet she sent me. After years of taking the first offer, I asked for more and they came in the middle. I'm so pleased. Your talk really helped. Thank you. So that made me feel so, so, so happy. That's just one of many, many testimonials I have. So there's some more art that I made just for fun. Gratitude and presenters and standout engaged attendees sent thank yous, like thank you cards and gift cards or presents, voice memos or vidyards or bomb videos, whatever. Vidyard is free, that's why I say vidyard. LinkedIn recommendations, testimonials for their website, share attendee feedback, and offer to connect them with other speaking or podcast gigs. So putting this into practice now. Think about your Wednesday priorities. Think about your Thursday priorities. Maybe write a new website message. Write an email to every sponsor. Get both approved. Thank you calls with registrants. Ask them what would make a good online event for them. Thursday priorities, maybe talk with a sponsor about going online. Send out an email. Draft a landing page. Talk with one speaker about an interview. And then don't forget to always screenshot or take pictures of, right, your compliments for previous events. So people will want to come to this one. This person's like 2 thumbs up for a thought-provoking session. All of this woman's power phrases are absolutely amazing and powerful, saving this Prezi. Here's even more. Loved it. I learned a lot. I have pages and pages of notes, lots to think about. Thank you very much. Your enthusiasm is so great. Love the diversity of topics and wealth of information. Doing a wonderful job sharing knowledge, encouragement, and resources. This sounds like a thing you want to go to because there's a lot of online events that suck and yours doesn't have to suck. Yours can be wonderful. This person wrote a very long, nice testimonial. And she just loved the event. This person said it's the best summit I've ever done. And this person said, I'm grateful for this particular presentation. So I'm currently accepting 3 clients for one-to-one work. We could cover making your event look like it's worth lots of money, how to get people to show up, how to get full engagement, how to minimize the technical glitches, excelling with slide design and poll design and more. If you want to set up a little Q&A session with me, because we don't have a lot of time right now, I'm putting it in the chat. It's my bit.ly link. Check it out. You can also contact me with this. So I'm in the US, so that's just a FYI for Canadians, but email is good anywhere. So if you are interested in focused, concrete one-to-one work on your virtual event, please type yes, no, or maybe in the chat. Then I'll know who to follow up with. Great. Wonderful. Excellent. So if you want continued support and resources, I also offer Fundraising Mastermind Elite, which is my membership program. And you basically get access to me once a month and all of my courses, as well as webinars. So some results that we've had. It's me and my friend slapping a high five. We do webinars and virtual team webinars in here too, just sort of like how to like deal with crisis communications right now, a lot of stuff that we're all dealing with. And these are like my 10 e-courses on top of that. So some of the instructors inside, we have webinar recordings from all of these wonderful people. And this is the pricing. So this person got into Fundraising Mastermind Elite and went from making $10,000 a month to $170,000 in a year. So for her Chinese charter school, which is now the #1 charter school in Oregon. So actually it was $10,000 for the whole year and then $170,000 for the year. So she really rocketed her fundraising results. So nothing I shared with you today is theory or fluff that might work. It's stuff that I've done myself. Exact steps I've done to make more with low price and high ticket virtual events in the last 4 years. So that's the link I put in the chat. And now we're gonna have some Q&A time. I think we have a lot of questions. I wanna make sure we get through them. So Mel, thank you so much for managing those for me.
No problem. Yeah, we have a ton coming in. So I'll just jump right into it just because we don't have a ton of time.
Yeah.
Okay, so since you were talking about breakout rooms, Toyin is wondering how they can go about doing that. Do you have a little bit more? Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? I think there's actually a couple questions on that. So
Yeah, so there's a ton of different online conference platforms. There's one called Hopin. There's one called uh, Zoom, obviously, you could use. And, you could use GoToWebinar. There's just so many different ones. How do you choose which one is right for you? For me, I like to choose the one that I can get the best price for and that gets all the features that I want. And that's just sort of like the bottom line for me is that Zoom is extremely cheap and it gets me what I want. So if you have a paid version of Zoom, it will allow you to create breakout rooms with whoever is in the virtual meeting that you do. So the highest tier of Zoom is 1,000 people on a webinar and 500 people on a meeting. And for a meeting, you can do breakout rooms. And that's the way you can start to help people have networking time. Hop into is something like $5,000 for setup and some amount per month. I do know people that specialize in Hop In. So if you want to have an event with like virtual booths and speed networking and a main stage and just really fancy stuff, if you have the budget for that, awesome. I can connect you with them, no problem. There's some things I'm good at and some things I'm not good at, and I don't mind just passing you off to people that know more than me. So hope that was helpful.
awesome. Yeah, thank you. Going back to when you were talking about pricing for your conference and paying speakers, Rebecca is asking what are good prices for online conferences and also paying your speakers.
Yeah, so I paid my speakers an honorarium of $200 a speaker because that was what I could afford. And I felt like that was fair because most of them would have done it for free. And I was like, no, I want to pay you. And that made all the extra effort worth it. So if I had feedback on their slides, if I wanted to do 2 run-throughs, they would do it for me because they were getting paid. Whereas if you're just doing it out of the goodness of your heart, you're going to feel a little bit probably resentful that someone's asking you to do all this work for free. So I wanted it to be, something that would be worth their while, even in a small way. It's better than nothing. You know what I mean? If you can afford to pay people more, do. AFP pays people $500 per webinar. So that's something to think about if you can. Some people might say, I'll only speak for you for $1,000. That's up to you to figure out how you want to swing that. Maybe you can have them do some pre-events for that amount as well. So you can make it worth it. And then in terms of pricing the conference itself, I have done conferences for as low a ticket price as $9 and as high a ticket price as $597. So it really depends on the branding of the conference and how your audience, how they want to pay. So for my career conference, I figured a lot of people would be unemployed. So I decided to just double the price every month, 9, 18, 36, 67, and then 97 at the end. And a fair number of people bought when it was 36. I will say that. A lot of people bought when it was 9, but a lot of people bought when it was 36 too. For the Nonprofit Leadership Summit, which is a higher end event, I charged $297, $397, $497, and $597 in the 3 months leading up to the event that I promoted it. So a lot of people bought at the $397 and $497 range. So that was really worth my while. And I also made money with sponsorship as well. But yeah, it just really depends on who the audience is, how much money you think they can afford to spend. And then you can also survey them beforehand and say, what sessions would you like to see? And if I did these sessions, would you come? And that way you'll know right away what is the language that you need to use to get people to come to the event. And that's what I'm doing right now with my next event that I'm putting on in August. So hope that was helpful.
Yeah, just one follow-up question. Allie is asking, could you repeat which event was the $497 approximately?
Yeah, the Nonprofit Leadership Summit. I did that for 3 years from 2016 to 2018. And I really enjoyed that event because the first event I did is was about, I want nonprofit fundraisers to get paid more, and I want us to like self-empower in our careers. And so that was the career conference. And then I realized I had to talk to the bosses as well. So that's why I made the Nonprofit Leadership Summit, to talk about leadership and fundraising. And I got CFRE credits for both of those events. And if you pay $550 for a full year, you can get CFRE credits for everything you do, just FYI.
Awesome, and that is a great segue into the next question. Could you talk a little bit more about what is a CFRE credit for some of those that don't know?
Yeah, so if you are professional fundraiser, a CFRE credit is Certified Fundraising Executive credit. So we have one for this webinar today. And if you teach fundraising education, you can talk to the CFRE International folks and say, here's what I'm teaching. Would you please accredit it? And they have to look at what your materials are. And if they say yes, then they'll ask you, are you testing people after this? We want to make sure that if you test them, they actually learned and attended and retained the information. And so that's something else CFRE requires. I'm not sure about CEUs or what universities would require. I did look into getting that earlier this year, and I found that the universities generally a little bit cagey about giving you CEUs. And so you might want to instead partner with an association. Like if you're talking to nurses or doctors, partner with an association that already has accredited webinars and say, can we just tag along with you? So that's something to think about. For some people here I know are doing medical kind of focused events.
Perfect, thank you.
Welcome.
So we have quite a few questions about going back to the A/B testing. So the first is, what service were you using for that A/B test that you were speaking of?
Yeah, so I was using Unbounce for the landing page, and I was using Aweber and GetResponse for the emails.
Perfect, that's great. And
but you can also use lead pages, and you can also use Entreport for, I mean, there's a lot of landing page software too. Those are just ones that I've used.
Perfect, thank you. Another question about A/B testing is, how many people make consensus for an A/B test?
How many people make sense for the A/B test? That's a good question.
Make consensus.
Oh yeah. So usually the software will choose for you like a 10% or 15% of your list, or, you know, if it's a landing page, it'll be 50-50, and you can do it for like a week. Oh, I forgot to tell you about Opt-in Monster. That's another one that I use for pop-ups on my landing pages. Pop-ups on my website. So if you want someone to say they're visiting your website just to see what's new, and you want to let them know about your event, you can use Opt-in Monster to do A/B testing of what a pop-up would work. So a pop-up can come up like this way. It can be the whole screen. It could just be at the top. It could be at the bottom. Pop-ups do a lot of things, right? So I have had success getting people to come on free webinars to promote an event with pop-ups with Opt-in Monster. But it is not free. You have to pay for that. So pros and cons.
Thank you. All right, moving on to something a little bit different. Diana's asking, where do you get your pictures and graphics from?
A lot of my pictures and graphics come from me. Everything you saw here today, a lot of these things are mine. It's my art. It's a photographer. I got to take pictures of me. But for conferences and for webinars in general, I love to use the Buffer app website because they have a whole list of free places or very cheap places that you can get photographs and stock photographs that don't look like stock photographs. The other thing I like to use is Flickr Creative Commons photographs. Those are good too. And there's more image repositories that have a specific bent to them. So if you wanted pictures of people who are of different kinds of diverse backgrounds, you know, you may want to check out, you know, just Google diversity stock photographs and see what you find.
Wonderful. Thank you. I think we have time for maybe one or two more questions. We have a really great question coming from Shelby. How do you recommend prepping participants for online events? Many of our donors are older or less familiar with this technology. How do we best prepare them to make it go smoothly?
So if there's people that you really want there and you feel like they may not have the technical know-how, in the age of COVID-19, before this age of COVID-19, I would say, go to their house and help them. But since you can't probably do that right now, Ask them if they have like a younger person in their life that may be able to support them on the day of the event, or someone who's more tech savvy in their life. I don't want to be ageist there. Sorry about that. That was my bias coming out. The other thing I'll say is I had instructions go out the week before the event to get them to test their computer and the software capabilities that it has. People are pretty comfortable with Zoom right now, which is why I would suggest sticking with Zoom for older populations of folks or people who are just not that tech savvy, because people are getting more and more comfortable with it. If you have a new software they have to figure out, it's going to be that much harder for them to like download that, figure out how that all works. So that's just something to think about. The other thing I'll say is I also would have the email go out the day before with troubleshooting, FAQ, email and phone number of people they can call if they have any questions during the presentation. And, you know, that's really all you can do. And then if they had any trouble after the first day, hopefully you have a break day in between so that if they had questions and they couldn't get on, you can answer them that day. You know what I mean? So that's something to think about.
Awesome, thank you. So we're just running out of time, but there's two really quick questions that have been popping up as well. Can you just clarify, you were talking about postcards earlier and sending out those for promotion for your event. So was that a virtual postcard or was that a mail-in?
That was a mailing. That was a real mailing. I was like, I'm going to do a real mailing for a virtual event. I don't care. If people are going to give me $250 or $297, it's worth a postcard. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. That is a great little tidbit. And then, okay, so last question. What is a good number of speakers to have in the agenda?
That's a good question. You know, it depends on how long your event is. If it's a one-day event, don't have more than 3 or 4. I would have 3 to 4 per day for my virtual events. So I'd have a 3-day event, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I also surveyed people to see if they wanted a midweek or a weekend event. People overwhelmingly said midweek, but that's the kind of events I do are more professional development events. If you had a party kind of event, you know, that was like, we're going to party and we're going to learn, then maybe a Friday and a Saturday would make sense for you. Survey your list, survey your donors and decide what they want. I did an online event in April that was a Friday and a Saturday, and I really liked it. And the events, like they had so many concurrent sessions. It was during Hop In, and it was like, that was the platform they used, and it was called Organizing 2.0. And I really loved it. So many interesting little like lightning networking sessions with folks. And for someone who's been stuck inside for a while, right? Like what could be more fun than having a chance to just meet somebody organically, you know, and just be like, hey, now we're on Zoom together. What's up? What's your name? What are you about? You know, but see, I'm an extrovert and I'm really missing folks right now. So that's something else to remember, that not everybody wants that, you know? So surveying people again is your number one way, selling it before you make it, right? And asking people as well, would you like 3 events a day? Would you like 4, right? Like 4 sessions, 3 sessions. You could have concurrent events with some software. Some other software would be harder to do. So in Hop In, I literally went from one event to another one. I'm like, this session's boring. I'm going to the next one. Okay, I don't like this one either. I'm going to the next one. And that was great for me. I was like actually like being at a real conference. But that's also a very high dollar amount to pay to do that. So pros and cons, you know?
Awesome. Well, I think that is all the time that we have today. I really appreciate all of your wonderful questions that have been out there. And if you do have any more questions, we will be following up with an email after this. And so you can feel free to shoot us an email or shoot Mazarine an email. We'll be more than happy to answer those for you. And just before we sign off, I want to remind you all that the session today is recorded. So you'll be receiving the recording along with Mazarine's slide deck by hopefully the end of day today. And again, by attending this session, you're eligible to receive 1 CFRE credit. So please feel free to reach out to me at melissa.bilko@kila.com. I've just popped it into the chat there to learn more. And thanks again, everyone. To learn more about our upcoming webinars, please feel free to go to our website. It's www.kila.co/webinars to learn more. And Mazarine, I will leave it off to you to close this out here if you want to say any last final words.
Well, I just want to say thank you to Shelby, thank you to Deborah, thank you to Wendy and Yangzi and Cecile and Rebecca and Ulrika and Rochelle, Connie and Maria, Kay and Allie. Thank you, Tess. Thank you, Juliet. Thank you, Diana. This was so fun to have you here. Your participation made it fun for me. So I am so grateful for you, Mel, as well, for having me on Keela. And thank you, everyone for coming. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. And good luck with your event.
Thanks so much, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye.